What if the greatest discoveries of human history were never meant to be fully understood? What if the past is not silent, but deliberately quiet? Across deserts, jungles, oceans, and forgotten hills, ancient structures still stand, asking questions we cannot answer. Stones arranged with impossible precision. Symbols carved by hands we will never know. Entire civilizations that rose, flourished, and vanished, without leaving a single explanation behind. We call this archaeology, but in truth, it is a conversation with absence. Because between what we uncover and what we can explain lies something far more unsettling. The realization that human history may be far older, wiser, and stranger than we are prepared to accept.
There's a particular quiet that settles in when we speak about the ancient world, a quiet that feels older than language itself, older than the stones and ruins we study, older even than the civilizations whose voices still echo faintly through time. As we step into this first section of our long journey, we do so gently, as though pushing open a weathered door whose hinges have not moved for centuries. Beyond that door lies a landscape shaped by dust and memory, mystery and evidence, and the ever-shifting dance between what we know and what we only think we know. Tonight, we begin not with answers, but with questions that have endured far longer than any of us. Archaeology often gives the impression of clarity, the careful brushing of sediment from an artifact, the measured grid lines across a dig site, the cataloging of fragments, the carbon dates, the published papers. Yet beneath that structure lies a truth far more poetic. Archaeology is the study of what remains, and in the silent gaps between those remains, imagination is required. Those spaces, those absences, guide us as profoundly as the discoveries themselves. They urge us to lean closer, to listen more intently, to wonder more deeply. This documentary invites listeners into that in-between space, a place where certainty softens and the boundaries between past and present become diffuse, where the night sky above us mirrors the ancient darkness once observed by long-gone peoples, and where the mysteries they left behind rise like constellations, bright, distant, and impossible to ignore. These puzzles are not just relics of stone and clay. They are fragments of human intention, frozen in time, yet full of movement if we pay attention. They remind us that our ancestors were not shadows, but thinkers, dreamers, builders, astronomers, storytellers, and seekers of meaning. Across the world, countless civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving behind clues, sometimes deliberate, sometimes accidental. Some clues take the form of grand monuments, towering as if to defy time itself. Others take subtler shapes, lines drawn across deserts, symbols etched into tablets, perfectly carved spheres hidden in jungles, or the careful alignment of stones with the rising sun. And yet, for all their presence, these clues often refuse to explain themselves. They whisper, but do not speak. They gesture, but do not reveal their secrets. Tonight we will move through some of the most enduring and perplexing mysteries archaeologists have confronted, sites where evidence is abundant yet meaning remains elusive. These places are thresholds into forgotten worlds, standing at the delicate intersection of fact and speculation. They challenge our assumptions about ancient ingenuity and compel us to re-examine the timeline of human capability. They remind us that progress has never been linear, and understanding has never been absolute. But before we step into those landscapes, we must adjust our pace to match the calm rhythm of deep time. Human history stretches far beyond the boundaries of written records and familiar civilizations. Much of it exists in shadows so profound that even the brightest scientific tools cannot fully illuminate them. And in that dimness, archaeological mysteries feel almost alive, as if they breathe with the slow cadence of the ages, waiting patiently for someone to listen closely enough. In this opening section, we begin by acknowledging the emotional and imaginative pull that ancient mysteries have always had on us. There is something uniquely compelling about standing at the edge of what is known and peering into what is not. Even the most rational minds feel a quiet thrill when encountering an artifact or site that defies explanation. These mysteries feel like invitations, gentle reminders that the world is still bigger than we realize, and human history still richer than we have yet uncovered. Across this documentary, we will journey to places where human hands once shaped the earth with extraordinary vision. Monumental circles rising from prehistoric hills, immense figures carved into desert plains, underground machines built with impossible precision, and symbols etched by cultures whose names we may never know. Some of these sites are well documented, others remain barely understood, and still others are so old that they border on the mythic. Yet all share a common thread. They challenge the limits of our knowledge. We will travel to Göbekli Tepe, a place that rewrote our understanding of when monumental architecture began. We will drift over the Nazca lines, those desert drawings whose purpose may forever elude us. We will explore the undeciphered script of the Indus Valley, the enigmatic erosion on the Great Sphinx, the perfect stone spheres of Costa Rica, and the puzzling objects left by Rome that still lack explanation. We will descend beneath the waters of Yonaguni, walk the silent avenues of Cairo, consider ancient tablets that may bear the earliest writing in Europe, visit a prehistoric desert observatory in Africa, and examine a mechanical marvel pulled from a shipwreck, its gears turning across millennia. But all of that lies ahead. Right now, we linger in the doorway, absorbing the stillness that precedes the journey. There is no need to rush. Mysteries reveal themselves slowly, and their quietness is part of their power. As nighttime settles around us and the world grows softer, the distant past feels closer, almost within reach. The edges between centuries blur, and we find ourselves walking alongside people we will never meet, yet whose traces we will follow tonight. It is in this contemplative space that we begin, a place where curiosity meets calm and history meets poetry, a place where the known world gently dissolves into the unknown, and where the stars above us shine with the same cold light that illuminated ancient eyes thousands of years ago. The mysteries we are about to explore may never be solved, and perhaps it is why they persist, quiet, patient, and endlessly compelling. As we take our first steps into this landscape of enigmas, we do so not with the intention of demanding answers, but with the simple, human desire to understand, to listen, to wonder, and to acknowledge that sometimes the most powerful journeys begin with what we cannot explain. This is where our exploration starts, at the threshold of curiosity, under a sky our ancestors once knew, surrounded by questions that have outlived entire civilizations. Tonight, we walk into the past, seeking not certainty, but the beauty found in the unresolved. High on a gentle hill in southeastern Turkey, surrounded by quiet fields and windswept plains, stand a site that has unsettled everything we once believed about the earliest chapters of human civilization. Section 2 invites us into the enigma of Göbekli Tepe, a place so ancient, so sophisticated, and so unexpected that it continues to reshape archaeological understanding even decades after its discovery. To expand this chapter, we step softly across terrain trodden by people who lived more than 11,000 years ago, long before cities, long before writing, long before agriculture was supposed to have taken root. Yet here, carved into the earth, lie monumental circles of stone crafted with a skill far ahead of their time. Göbekli Tepe is often called the world's first temple, though the people who built it left no written explanation of its purpose. What we see now is a complex arrangement of massive T-shaped pillars, some stretching over 15 feet tall, arranged in circles like great stone guardians watching an age-long past. Each pillar is carved from limestone quarried nearby, and some bear intricate reliefs. Foxes, boars, snakes, cranes, scorpions, and other creatures that must have held deep symbolic meaning. Even today, these carvings feel alive, their forms crisp against the weathered stone. Standing among them, one feels that the ancient builders poured their beliefs, fears, and hopes into every line, etched across the pillar surfaces. The mystery begins with the site's age. Radiocarbon dating places Göbekli Tepe in the 10th millennium BC, thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt, thousands of years before Stonehenge, and, crucially, thousands of years before the agricultural revolution took hold. According to long-held theories, humans were still nomadic hunter-gatherers at that time, moving across landscapes in small groups with little ability or reason to construct grand stone monuments. Monuments require planning, labor organization, food surplus, and permanence. And yet, here stands Göbekli Tepe, defying the timeline like a quiet rebellion against our assumptions. Archaeologists have long believed that agriculture came first, that the planting of crops created stable settlements, which in turn generated labor specialization, hierarchy, and eventually monumental architecture. But Göbekli Tepe seems to invert that narrative. It suggests that the desire for ritual, ceremony, or communal gathering may have driven people to come together first, and farming may have arisen as a necessity to support those gatherings. In other words, belief may have preceded bread. The spiritual may have shaped the practical, rather than the other way around. As we drift deeper into this section, we feel the contrast that Göbekli Tepe embodies so powerfully: the coexistence of immense knowledge and immense uncertainty. We know the stones are real, the carvings deliberate, the layout intentional. Yet we do not know why the builders chose this hill, why they raised such gigantic structures, or why they eventually buried them under layers of earth before leaving the site altogether. That final action, burying the complex, adds yet another layer of intrigue. Was the burial ceremonial? Protective? Symbolic? No one can say for sure. In the pale light of dawn or dusk, the site takes on a dreamlike quality, as though the stones themselves are half awake, remembering a past their creators tried to preserve by concealing it. Imagine people carrying limestone pillars weighing up to 10 tons, using only ropes, logs, and raw human determination. Imagine the coordination required, the effort invested, the meaning it must have carried for them. They were not primitive in their thinking, though their tools were simple. They were capable of grand visions, visions we still struggle to interpret. Throughout this section, we allow the gentle rhythm of nighttime narration to guide us across the landscape. We picture ancient gatherings around the pillars, perhaps rituals under a sky filled with stars brighter than we can see today. We imagine musicians, dancers, storytellers, or shamans weaving meaning into the air. Whether Göbekli Tepe served as a sanctuary, a ceremonial center, a place of burial, a site of pilgrimage, or something entirely different remains a matter of scholarly debate. Some researchers suggest it might have been a place to unite scattered clans, others that it marked seasonal gatherings tied to celestial movements. But like many ancient mysteries, the truth lies somewhere beyond the reach of certainty. Another unusual aspect emerges as we consider how the people who built Göbekli Tepe lived. Excavations show no evidence of domestic structures, no houses, no hearths, no pottery, no signs of long-term habitation. It seems the site was not a city or a village, it was a destination. A place people came to for reasons important enough to justify transporting immense stones, carving detailed reliefs, and coordinating labor on an unprecedented scale. This suggests a sophisticated social network existed among hunter-gatherer groups, far more complex than previously assumed. As we wander between the pillars in our imagination, we notice how the stone enclosures form circles or near circles, with two larger central pillars dominating each space. These central stones may represent deities, ancestral spirits, mythic figures, or forces of nature. Or perhaps they served as symbolic guardians or representations of communal identity. The carvings across the pillars also raise questions. Why so many animals? Were they totems? Symbols of cosmic stories? Markers of seasons or dangers? Were they reminders of a world full of threats and wonders? A world whose mysteries early peoples sought to honor or tame? In this quiet, nighttime telling, we acknowledge that the answers remain hidden, just as the builders once hid the site under tons of earth. But that unknowing is part of the beauty. Göbekli Tepe invites us to release our assumptions and embrace the possibility that early humans were far more spiritually and socially sophisticated than we have imagined. It invites us to see the past not as a dim beginning, but as a rich and complex tapestry woven with thought, belief, and imagination. We end this section with a gentle transition. If a site this ancient could overturn our understanding of early society, what other places might challenge our expectations? What other mysteries, carved in a stone or etched across landscapes, might reveal capabilities we never thought ancient peoples possessed? With these questions resting softly in our minds, we drift slowly from the stone circles of Turkey toward another mystery, one drawn not in stone, but across the vast, silent canvas of the desert. Stretching across the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca lines lie under a sky so clear and dry that the desert itself seems to have been waiting for someone to notice. From ground level, the lines are nearly invisible, subtle depressions in the sand. But from above, they emerge with astonishing clarity. Massive drawings of hummingbirds, monkeys, spiders, and geometric patterns so precise that even the most meticulous of modern surveyors would pause in admiration. These lines, etched between 500 BCE and 500 CE, raise questions that continue to perplex archaeologists, historians, and travelers alike. Unlike Göbekli Tepe, which communicates its grandeur through upright stone, the Nazca lines speak horizontally, across thousands of acres, demanding a perspective that the people who created them may have imagined but never physically reached. In this section, we drift slowly across the desert, imagining the labor required to scrape away the oxidized surface stones to reveal the lighter sand beneath. The techniques seem simple, almost primitive, yet the precision and scale suggest careful planning, advanced knowledge of geometry, and a deep understanding of proportion. Many figures stretch hundreds of feet. Some geometric lines extend for miles. How could a culture without modern surveying tools achieve such accuracy? The question itself is part of the mystery, a subtle reminder that human ingenuity often appears in unexpected ways. The desert, silent and vast, becomes a stage upon which both logic and imagination must coexist. Scholars have proposed numerous theories to explain the purpose of the lines, each shedding a different kind of light on the mystery. Some suggest astronomical alignments. Certain lines may point to the rising or setting sun during solstices or track celestial bodies, suggesting that the Nazca people observed the heavens carefully, translating that knowledge into permanent markings on the earth. Others argue that the lines are ceremonial pathways, routes walked during religious processions, intended to honor deities or spirits associated with water and fertility in this arid land. Another possibility is that the drawings functioned as a form of communication with the gods, messages visible only from the sky, where the divine could observe human devotion and ritual. Yet none of these explanations fully account for the scale, variety, or intricacy of the designs. Part of what makes the Nazca lines so haunting, so mesmerizing in their quiet persistence, is the contrast between the simplicity of the tools and the complexity of the result. We picture figures painstakingly formed by removing a thin layer of reddish-brown iron oxide pebbles to reveal the pale earth beneath, all without rulers, scaffolding, or aerial views. The desert, often harsh and unrelenting, offered no shortcuts. Each line required focus, intention, and perhaps a spiritual commitment we can only begin to imagine. In their patient persistence, the lines echo the quiet devotion of the human spirit, a willingness to labor for something invisible, lasting, and profound. Even more mysterious is the choice of subjects. Animals dominate the depictions, yet many are creatures that are rare, symbolic, or mythic rather than common in the surrounding environment. The condor, for instance, a bird that soars high above the Andes, seems an apt messenger between humans and the sky, while spiders, monkeys, and hummingbirds might reflect local lore, seasonal cycles, or cosmological concepts lost to us over centuries. The line's precision, their geometric forms, triangles, trapezoids, spirals, and straight paths, suggest a sophisticated understanding of proportion and measurement. Some scholars argue that these figures represent ritual maps of water sources, agricultural cycles, or mythic journeys. Others embrace the uncertainty itself, allowing the lines to retain their enigmatic power. As we drift across the desert in thought, we notice how time has been both cruel and kind to these lines. Centuries of wind, erosion, and occasional human interference have shifted some edges, yet the dryness of the Nazca Desert has preserved their essence. Unlike wooden or organic artifacts that decay, the lines endure in a fragile permanence, a testament to an environment that both challenged and protected their creators' work. Walking among them today, the human figures appear almost ghostly, a quiet hum beneath the sun's harsh light. There is a sense that these marks are still listening, still waiting to be understood. The Nazca lines also invite us to consider perspective. To truly appreciate them, one must rise above, literally and figuratively. From the desert floor, they are faint and mysterious. From the air, their designs and intentions emerge, partially revealing the minds of their makers. This tension between the near and the distant, the hidden and the revealed, is central to their enduring allure. It mirrors the broader human experience of history itself. Some truths are visible only when we change how we look, only when we allow ourselves to see beyond the ordinary. In our quiet exploration, we also reflect on the culture that produced the lines. The Nazca people were farmers, artisans, and observers of a desert environment that demanded ingenuity and adaptation. Their achievements in ceramics, textiles, and water management speak to a civilization that thrived under challenging conditions. Yet, the lines suggest something more, a capacity for ritual, symbolism, and spiritual expression that required extraordinary effort without the promise of immediate practical benefit. This blending of practicality and mystery, of survival and transcendence, gives the Nazca lines a hypnotic resonance, a quality that draws us into contemplation. Finally, the Nazca lines encourage us to embrace ambiguity. Despite decades of study, debates over their purpose, construction, and meaning continue. They exist as a silent dialogue between past and present, a place where science and speculation coexist peacefully. For listeners, the desert becomes a quiet companion. The lines themselves a gentle reminder that not every question demands an answer, and that the pursuit of wonder can be as profound as discovery. As we leave the desert behind, we carry with us the idea that some messages are meant to inspire contemplation, not resolution, an invitation to journey onward into other enigmas the world has hidden among stone, sand, and shadow. As the sun sets over the plains, casting long, soft shadows across the figures, we drift toward the next mystery, moving from the open desert to the structured streets and undeciphered symbols of an ancient civilization on the Indian subcontinent. If the Nazca lines teach us anything, it is that human beings have long sought to leave a mark on the world that transcends mere survival, a mark visible to the gods, or perhaps only to time itself, patiently waiting to be discovered. Deep in the plains of the Indus River, in what is now Pakistan and northwest India, lies a civilization that flourished over 4,000 years ago, leaving behind a quiet testament to human ingenuity. Section 4 draws us into the Indus Valley Civilization, a society whose achievements continue to challenge modern understanding. Unlike monumental sites such as Göbekli Tepe or the Nazca Lines, the Indus Valley is remarkable not for dramatic stone circles or desert markings, but for its meticulous urban planning, sophisticated infrastructure, and a script that remains undeciphered. A civilization that seems to have spoken in silence, leaving behind whispers rather than words. Here, we explore the tension between what is known and what is unknowable, between the ordered streets and the untranslatable symbols etched into seals, pottery, and tablets. Cities such as Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and Dalavera reveal a level of urban sophistication that astonishes archaeologists. Straight streets intersect at perfect right angles, lined with uniform brick houses, while advanced drainage systems carry waste away from homes, reflecting both foresight and concern for public health. Wells and reservoirs indicate careful management of water resources in a landscape prone to seasonal floods. Yet despite this impressive urban organization, the civilization left almost no signs of palaces, monumental temples, or ostentatious displays of wealth. Their society appears remarkably egalitarian, suggesting a different conception of power and hierarchy from contemporary civilizations in Mesopotamia or Egypt. And then there is the script, an array of symbols whose meaning has eluded every attempt at translation, a silent language whose voices reach across millennia, yet refuse to speak. The Indus script appears on seals, pottery, and small tablets, usually consisting of a few symbols arranged in short sequences. The signs are consistent, repeating across sites, suggesting a standardized system of communication. Yet despite these repetitions, no Rosetta Stone exists, no bilingual inscription to offer a key. Scholars have debated its nature for decades. Is it a full writing system representing language, a set of administrative symbols, or a combination of both? Some have argued that the brevity of inscriptions indicates trade records, ownership marks, or ritual purposes rather than narrative communication. Others speculate that the script encoded complex information now lost, including myth, law, or spiritual thought. Every interpretation hints at understanding, yet simultaneously reminds us of how much remains hidden. The mystery deepens when we consider the society that produced these symbols. The Indus people built cities that required coordination, planning, and long-term thinking, yet they left no monumental tombs, no grand inscriptions, no large-scale art or propaganda. The civilization thrived for centuries, perhaps even a millennium, then gradually declined, leaving cities abandoned for reasons still debated: climate change, river shifts, or social transformation. With the disappearance of its urban centers, the script vanished, leaving behind fragments that seem at once intimate and alien. The contrast is stark. Here is a civilization that mastered material life, but whose symbolic life remains a secret. Walking through the streets of Mohenjo-daro in our imagination, we sense the quiet rhythm of everyday life. Merchants selling goods, craftsmen shaping clay, children playing near canals, families gathering around modest homes. There is no written history to narrate these lives, only the patterns of bricks and the impressions of seals, some adorned with animals, others with abstract shapes. These small artifacts, often overlooked, are the closest we can come to hearing the Indus voice. Yet even as we examine them closely, the silence persists. Each seal or tablet is a doorway to a thought world we can glimpse but not fully enter. Archaeologists have noted that the Indus script's uniformity and precision suggest not only literacy, but also social cohesion. The signs appear consistently across hundreds of miles of urban centers, implying shared knowledge and standardized communication. This points to a complex society, capable of governance, trade, and cultural continuity, yet without relying on monumental storytelling or conspicuous power symbols. It is as though the civilization expressed sophistication not through grand spectacle, but through the quiet elegance of order and function. The script becomes a mirror of this ethos, structured, intentional, and profoundly mysterious. The enduring challenge of decipherment lends the Indus Valley civilization a poetic quality, particularly suited to a calm, contemplative narrative. Unlike texts that tell their stories outright, the Indus script invites imagination, speculation, and a gentle embrace of uncertainty. Each symbol is a brushstroke of thought, a fragment of intent, a piece of a puzzle we may never complete. Yet there is beauty in that unknowing. It allows us to wander among the ruins with curiosity instead of judgment, to consider a society that thrived not on grandeur, but on subtlety, not on words, but on forms and arrangements, not on proclamation, but on silent precision. As we dwell on the Indus mysteries, we also recognize the contrast with our modern obsession with communication. Today, humans leave traces everywhere. Messages, images, digital footprints. Yet this ancient civilization seems to have been selective, measured, and purposeful in what it left behind. The undeciphered script, the orderly streets, the hidden seals, all suggest a culture that understood permanence and meaning differently. There is a quiet lesson here, that sophistication need not be loud, that complexity can exist without spectacle, and that the most profound insights often come in whispers rather than declarations. Toward the end of this section, we reflect on the nature of historical silence. The Indus Valley Civilization teaches us that understanding is not always linear and that knowledge is not always complete. Some mysteries are meant to endure, and some voices, no matter how carefully inscribed, remain elusive. For the listener, this creates a space to contemplate human ingenuity, fragility, and the delicate interplay between evidence and imagination. It prepares us for the next chapter, where mystery takes a monumental, almost eternal form in the sands of Egypt, in a colossal figure whose gaze has puzzled generations. As we leave the quiet streets of the Indus cities, we carry with us the awareness of a civilization that spoke, yet left its words silent. The tension between what we can see and what we cannot, between the remarkable order of the material world and the still hidden order of thought, lingers in our minds. With this quiet sense of wonder, we drift from Indus Valley to the sun-scorched plains of Giza, where the great Sphinx waits as a guardian of forgotten ages, a witness to mysteries older than memory itself. On the edge of the Giza Plateau, where the golden sands stretch toward the horizon and the relentless sun paints the earth in warm tones, a figure gazes across millennia in silent contemplation. The great Sphinx, with its leonine body and human face, has stood watch for thousands of years, a sentinel of mystery and majesty. In this section, we slow our pace to drift among the sands, tracing the Sphinx's worn contours and exploring the tensions that have long fascinated archaeologists, historians, and dreamers alike. It is a story of contrasts between human ambition and natural erosion, certainty and speculation, the visible and the hidden. Standing before the Sphinx, we are reminded that history is often both monumental and elusive. The Sphinx is enormous, carved directly from the limestone bedrock beneath the plateau. Its body stretches over 230 feet, its height surpasses 66 feet, and its enigmatic face looks toward the rising sun, aligned with precision to the east. Scholars have long debated its construction date, which is traditionally placed around 2500 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. Yet the patterns of erosion and geological study have sparked theories that suggest it may be far older, perhaps thousands of years before the pharaohs of the Fourth Dynasty. This tension between established chronology and emerging geological interpretations forms the heart of the Sphinx's allure. The monument is at once ancient and timeless, a structure both studied and mysterious. The contrast between certainty and ambiguity extends to the purpose of the Sphinx itself. Conventional archaeology positions it as a guardian figure, a monumental emblem of royal power meant to protect the adjacent pyramids. Yet the scale and orientation of the Sphinx suggest more than simple function. It seems almost alive, its presence imbued with a silent narrative. The erosion patterns, some argue, hint at weathering caused by rainfall rather than wind, suggesting an age far preceding known Egyptian dynasties. Whether or not these claims hold, the possibility invites reflection on how little we truly know about early human ingenuity and ambition. The Sphinx, in its patient watchfulness, embodies both the grandeur of creation and the mystery of origin. Walking mentally along the Sphinx's flanks, we notice the layers of time etched into its surface. The nose is famously absent, and its headdress and body are softened by millennia of wind, sand, and human interference. Legends abound regarding its missing features, from deliberate destruction to natural erosion. But the certainty of the present is that these elements deepen the monument's enigmatic aura rather than diminish it. Each worn line and chipped surface speaks to the passage of time and the impermanence of even the most monumental human achievements. Yet despite the ravages of centuries, the Sphinx remains a powerful focal point, commanding attention and inspiring contemplation. The carvings around the Sphinx also contribute to its mystery. Hieroglyphs, inscriptions from later periods, and the occasional ceremonial addition suggest that successive generations of Egyptians recognized its importance, whether as a sacred symbol, a religious icon, or a protective guardian. Yet none of these inscriptions reveal its original intent. We are left with a form that is striking, symmetrical, and deliberate, but whose original story has vanished beneath the weight of time. This invites us, the observers, into a quiet dialogue, to imagine the minds that conceived such a structure, the labor required to shape it, and the reverence with which it was approached. The Sphinx's placement also adds to its enigmatic nature. Positioned near the Great Pyramids of Giza and aligned toward the rising sun, it occupies a space that is both central and liminal. It bridges the practical and the spiritual, the human and the divine. In imagining the original builders, we can picture workers who hauled enormous blocks of limestone, craftsmen who sculpted precise details, and planners who oriented the monument with astronomical awareness. Their intentions remain obscured, yet their skill is undeniable. The Sphinx embodies a duality that resonates with our broader exploration of ancient mysteries. It is both familiar and alien, monumental and intimate, known and unknowable. Modern technology has revealed additional layers of complexity. Ground-penetrating radar, digital mapping, and geological surveys have uncovered chambers and cavities beneath the Sphinx that may or may not have served ceremonial, storage, or symbolic purposes. Some researchers hypothesize hidden tunnels, subterranean temples, or ritual pathways. Others caution that natural formation may account for anomalies. The calm rhythm of this section allows listeners to absorb these possibilities without the urgency of sensationalism, emphasizing contemplation over conclusion. The Sphinx becomes a mirror, reflecting both our desire to know and the humility imposed by time. Equally compelling is the Sphinx's embodiment of human ambition. In its creation, we see the intersection of vision, organization, and artistry. Its massive scale suggests coordinated labor, advanced knowledge of stonework, and an understanding of aesthetics that transcends mere function. The Sphinx represents not only the society that carved it, but also the broader human impulse to create symbols that outlast individuals, generations, and entire civilizations. It is a meditation on permanence, on the desire to leave a mark on the world, and on the tension between human aspiration and natural forces. As the sun drifts across the sky in our imaginary journey, we also notice the quiet interplay of light and shadow on the Sphinx's form. Early morning and late afternoon cast dramatic lines along its features, highlighting the sculptural sophistication while softening the hard edges. This interplay mirrors the thematic tension of the monument itself. The contrast between illumination and mystery, clarity and ambiguity. Just as the Sphinx gazes eastward, we gaze inward, contemplating not only the unknowns of ancient Egypt, but also our own fascination with time, endurance, and meaning. The Great Sphinx also serves as a bridge to the wider world of mysteries we will explore. Its monumental presence invites reflection on human ingenuity, the persistence of mystery, and the interplay between natural and constructed worlds. From here, we can drift gently towards smaller, more intimate enigmas, such as the stone spheres of distant jungles or the subtle artifacts left behind by civilizations we have yet to fully understand. The Sphinx reminds us that mystery exists on every scale, from the grand to the minuscule, from the monumental to the everyday, waiting quietly for observation and contemplation. As our section closes, we leave the Giza Plateau with a sense of reverence and curiosity. The Sphinx endures as both symbol and sentinel, a guardian not only of tombs and monuments, but also of the unanswered questions that define human history. Its silent gaze reminds us that understanding is often provisional, and that the most profound stories are not always written in words or numbers. They are etched in stone, in landscape, in the patient endurance of time. With this quiet reflection, we prepare to journey from the sands of Egypt to the lush jungles of Central America, where the perfect, enigmatic stone spheres of Costa Rica wait, continuing the delicate balance between the known and the unknown. Deep within the dense, humid jungles of Costa Rica, hidden beneath layers of moss and leaf litter, lie hundreds of perfectly round stone spheres. Section 6 draws us into this quiet, verdant world, where nature and human craftsmanship intersect in ways that continue to baffle archaeologists. The spheres range from small, fist-sized orbs to massive stones nearly 8 feet in diameter, each polished with remarkable precision. Their surfaces are smooth, their curves almost flawless, and their presence evokes questions that have lingered for nearly a century. How are they made? Why were they placed where they are? And, perhaps most puzzlingly, what meaning did they hold for the peoples who shaped them? The spheres are scattered across riverbeds, hillsides, and archaeological sites, often found in alignments or clusters, suggesting intentional placement rather than random occurrence. Early 20th century explorers stumbled upon them buried in dense forest, and over time, researchers realized that these objects were not merely curiosities, but evidence of a sophisticated prehistoric culture. The craftsmanship required to produce such geometrically precise spheres is extraordinary, particularly given the tools available at the time, which were limited to stone, wood, and manual labor. Each sphere embodies careful selection of rock, repeated shaping, and painstaking polishing, a quiet testimony to patience, skill, and an appreciation for form that modern eyes still marvel at. Despite the apparent simplicity of the spheres, their purpose remains deeply mysterious. Archaeologists have proposed numerous hypotheses. Some suggest they were status symbols, markers of territory or social hierarchy, while others posit astronomical or ceremonial significance. Certain alignments hint at connections to solstices or other celestial events, suggesting an early awareness of cosmic patterns. Others may have served as tools for games, counting, or symbolic communication. Yet no definitive evidence exists to confirm any single theory, and the spheres continue to resist interpretation. This uncertainty transforms them into something profoundly meditative, a quiet mystery that invites reflection rather than resolution. The contrast between their flawless geometry and the natural chaos of the jungle enhances their enigmatic presence. Here are forms of extraordinary precision embedded within an environment that is organic, unpredictable, and ever-changing. Vines creep around some spheres, roots twist beneath others. Rain and erosion have softened edges in certain cases, yet many retain their near-perfect roundness. The spheres exist at the intersection of human intention and natural processes, raising questions about the interplay between order and chaos, control and chance. Walking through the forest in thought, one can almost imagine the builders moving each stone with reverent care, attuning themselves to both the land and their own meticulous vision. Time has both obscured and preserved these spheres. Over centuries, vegetation reclaimed many of the sites, burying the stones and protecting them from casual discovery. In some cases, soil deposits preserved them so completely that modern archaeologists had to carefully excavate each one to reveal its original shape and context. This slow reclamation by the jungle mirrors the broader passage of history. Civilizations rise, leaves cover their traces, and only careful observation allows the past to reemerge. The sphere's quiet endurance within this dynamic environment underscores a recurring theme of this documentary: that the most compelling mysteries are often hidden in plain sight, waiting patiently for those willing to look closely. Equally compelling is the cultural context of the spheres. They are attributed to pre-Columbian societies, including the Dequas culture, which thrived in the region from approximately 700 CE to 1530 CE. These communities were skilled in agriculture, ceramics, and metallurgy, demonstrating sophisticated understanding of both craft and environment. Yet despite the sphere's extraordinary precision, they left little written record to explain them. Like the Indus Valley script or the Nazca lines, the spheres invite us to consider civilizations that communicated meaning not through words, but through objects and spatial arrangement. Their silence is deliberate, their mystery intentional, offering insight into how early peoples conceptualized the world around them. The spheres also provoke reflection on human perception and expectation. Modern observers tend to measure achievement by scale, complexity, or textual evidence, yet the spheres challenge these notions. A small, perfectly formed orb can be as remarkable as a towering monument, a subtle creation as meaningful as a grand edifice. The builders of these spheres understood form and proportion intuitively, leaving behind objects that demonstrate aesthetic and mathematical insight without relying on written explanation. The spheres exemplify the power of simplicity combined with precision, a quiet, meditative statement across centuries. In imagining the creation of these spheres, one envisions a slow, deliberate process. Craftsmen would have chipped, ground, and polished each stone over long periods, continuously refining their shape until perfection was approached. Such labor speaks not only to technical skill, but also to cultural values, patience, observation, and devotion to craft. The result is not merely a functional object, but a symbolic expression, a testament to human engagement with material, space, and form. The spheres become a bridge between the tactile and the symbolic, between labor and meaning, between earth and human intention. As we leave the verdant jungles behind in our mental journey, the spheres linger as quiet companions in our imagination. Their unanswered questions echo the broader patterns of ancient mysteries, intentionality, skill, and cultural significance interwoven with silence and ambiguity. They prepare us for the transition to a different kind of puzzle, one smaller, portable, and equally enigmatic, emerging from the heart of the Roman Empire, the hollow bronze dodecahedra. Here, precision takes on mechanical and symbolic dimension, shifting our focus from monumental and natural forms to intricate artifacts whose purpose remains equally elusive. In this quiet contemplation, we realize that the stone spheres of Costa Rica are not only artifacts of craftsmanship, they are lessons in patience, observation, and humility. They remind us that human ingenuity has always found expression in myriad ways, that precision and mystery often coexist, and that some of the most profound insights into ancient societies come not from texts or grand narratives, but from objects that challenge our assumptions. As we drift away from the jungle, we carry with us a sense of wonder, ready to explore the next enigmatic creation in our journey through the hidden histories of the ancient world. Scattered across the lands once held by the Roman Empire, small, hollow bronze objects emerge from the soil like whispers from a forgotten past. Section 7 invites us into the quiet enigma of the Roman dodecahedra, 12-sided, geometric forms that continue to perplex archaeologists and historians alike. Unlike monumental structures or vast landscapes, these objects are intimate in scale, small enough to be held in the palm of a hand, yet their precision and distribution suggest an importance that eludes modern understanding. They appear in disparate locations across Europe, from Britain to Hungary, indicating that they were widely known, perhaps widely used, yet their purpose has never been recorded. Each dodecahedron seems to exist in deliberate ambiguity, a carefully crafted mystery waiting patiently for interpretation. The dodecahedra are remarkable for their geometric sophistication. Each has 12 flat pentagonal faces, with a circular hole in the center of each face. The sizes vary, ranging from a few centimeters to over 20 centimeters in diameter. Some are adorned with small knobs at the vertices. Others remain smooth, and the arrangement of holes differs from object to object. Their precision suggests careful craftsmanship and intention, Yet we have no contemporary Roman texts describing them. Unlike coins, pottery, or inscriptions, they leave no explicit narrative, no clear function, only their enigmatic presence. This contrast between apparent purpose and documented absence is central to their intrigue. Various hypotheses have been proposed to explain the dodecahedra. Some scholars suggest they were measuring instruments, possibly used in surveying land or determining distances. Others speculate that they functioned as tools for calculating or calibrating, perhaps in architecture or astronomy. A particularly charming theory proposes that they were knitting devices used to create the intricate patterns of gloves or garments. Another interpretation suggests they held ritual or symbolic significance, perhaps used in religious ceremonies or as talismans. Yet despite decades of research, no single theory has gained definitive acceptance, leaving the dodecahedra suspended in historical ambiguity. The placement of the dodecahedra also raises questions. Many have been discovered in areas associated with settlements, villas, or military sites, while others appear in isolated locations, their context uncertain. The distribution suggests that these objects were valued across different social and geographic strata, but why they were so widely disseminated remains a mystery. Their small scale allows them to travel easily, yet their consistent geometric precision implies a standardized production method, perhaps by skilled artisans whose knowledge of form was surprisingly advanced for the era. The tension between portability and complexity mirrors the broader interplay of simplicity and sophistication we have observed in other ancient mysteries. Crafting a dodecahedron in bronze would have required careful planning and execution. Bronze casting, a process demanding both knowledge and skill, was well within Roman capabilities. Yet the geometric perfection of these objects hints at an understanding of mathematics and spatial reasoning that is remarkable for the period. Each face had to be precisely formed, each hole drilled with accuracy, and the overall balance of the object maintained. In handling one of these dodecahedra, we can almost feel the thought and patience invested by its maker, the intention behind its creation, even if that intention remains obscure. In this sense, the objects are as much a reflection of human cognition and care as they are physical artifacts. The enduring mystery of the dodecahedra is compounded by the absence of contemporary references. Unlike coins or inscriptions, which explicitly convey information, these objects speak in silence. They resist classification, defy easy comparison, and refuse to fit neatly into known categories of Roman material culture. Their existence encourages us to accept uncertainty as part of the human story, reminding us that even a civilization as well documented as Rome left some footprints that are impossible to fully trace. In this quiet ambiguity, the dodecahedra invite meditation on craftsmanship, human curiosity, and the limits of historical knowledge. We also consider the aesthetic qualities of these objects. Despite, or perhaps because of, their functional ambiguity, they are visually compelling. The symmetry of the 12 pentagonal faces, the careful alignment of holes, the tactile presence of their knobs and surfaces all suggest that the maker valued beauty as much as utility. In this way, the dodecahedra bridge the worlds of practicality and artistry, echoing themes we have encountered in other mysteries: precise form, intentionality, and a deep connection between human cognition and the material world. They are small, portable monuments, intimate yet profound, reminding us that even the tiniest artifacts can carry vast significance. As we imagine their use, we picture Romans handling them carefully, rotating them in their hands, measuring, aligning, or contemplating. Perhaps they were passed from artisan to artisan, soldier to civilian, priest to devotee. Or perhaps they were prized objects whose meaning was known only to select individuals, now lost to the passage of time. The fact that they continue to spark debate among modern scholars underscores their lasting power. They are reminders that history is incomplete, that human intention can survive without explanation, and that mystery itself can be a form of continuity across the centuries. The dodecahedra also serve as a bridge to larger, more monumental enigmas in our journey. Unlike vast constructions such as Göbekli Tepe or the Sphinx, these small objects challenge our perception of scale and significance. They demonstrate that mysteries are not solely grandiose. They can reside in the palm of a hand, quiet yet compelling, requiring patience, reflection, and imagination to appreciate. Their presence encourages a shift in perspective, preparing us to explore other sites where geometry, design, and purpose intersect in unexpected ways. As our exploration of the Roman dodecahedra draws to a close, we linger on the profound elegance of these objects. They remind us that human ingenuity often manifests in forms that are subtle, personal, and deliberately opaque. We leave them in the soil, their silent testimony preserved beneath centuries of earth, yet their mystery resonates in our imagination. With this quiet contemplation, we are ready to move from the intricate craftsmanship of Rome to the underwater terraces of Japan, the Yonaguni Monument, where geometry, water, and time conspire to create another enduring puzzle that stretches the limits of belief and understanding. Beneath the tranquil waves off the southern coast of Japan lies a submerged landscape that has captivated the imagination of archaeologists, divers, and historians for decades. Section 8 draws us into the mystery of the Yonaguni Monument, an underwater formation that blurs the line between natural geology and human design. The site consists of massive terraces, steps, platforms, and sharp angles carved into the bedrock, extending over several hundred meters. From above, it might appear as an ordinary section of the ocean floor, but as divers descend into the gentle currents, a more remarkable reality emerges. Structures that seem both intentional and impossibly ancient, challenging our understanding of human capability and the history of civilization. The Yonaguni Monument was first brought to attention in the 1980s by diver Kahachiro Aratake, who explored the waters near the island of Yonaguni. Subsequent explorations revealed a series of terraces, ledges, and what appear to be walls and pyramidal structures. Some formations display sharp corners, right angles, and flat surfaces, suggesting intentional shaping. Yet the surrounding geology is composed of sandstone and mudstone, which naturally fractures along planar lines, producing straight edges that could be interpreted as man-made. This duality lies at the heart of the site's enduring intrigue. Are we witnessing the remnants of a sunken city or an extraordinary accident of nature? Radiocarbon dating, geological surveys, and sea level studies add layers to the mystery. At the end of the last ice age, around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, sea levels were significantly lower, and the area now underwater would have been exposed land. If humans did shape these terraces and structures, they may have done so long before traditionally recognized advanced civilizations emerged in the region. This possibility upends conventional timelines, suggesting either unknown prehistoric cultures capable of large-scale construction or natural processes that coincidentally mirror human architectural tendencies. The uncertainty creates a subtle tension, a quiet hum of curiosity that invites us to look closer without ever fully revealing the truth. The formations themselves are remarkable. The largest terraces rise several meters, with steps and ledges that appear proportionally consistent, hinting at measurement or planning. Certain blocks seem intentionally separated, resembling walls or platforms, while others appear carved into geometric shapes reminiscent of pyramids. Some terraces show signs of erosion consistent with water flow, which complicates interpretation. Is the smoothing natural, or was it part of human finishing? The interplay between erosion, natural fracturing, and potential human modification creates an intricate puzzle, one that continues to spark debate among experts and enthusiasts alike. Beyond the terraces, some divers have reported finding large stone columns, rock carvings, and possible pathways, features that reinforce the theory of human intervention. Critics caution that the natural geology of the region can produce similar formations, emphasizing the importance of careful, objective analysis. Proponents of human involvement argue that the combination of flat surfaces angular steps, and apparent design patterns is statistically unlikely to occur without deliberate shaping. Here, the Yonaguni Monument becomes a meditation on ambiguity itself, a space where certainty and speculation coexist, inviting us to suspend judgment and embrace wonder. Culturally, the Yonaguni Monument resonates with myths and local stories. Some Okinawan traditions speak of lost lands submerged beneath the waves, echoing legends of a sunken civilization that once thrived before the rise of the sea. While folklore is not evidence, it adds texture to our contemplation, reminding us that human imagination often preserves fragments of memory in unexpected ways. The intersection of scientific observation, legend, and human intuition creates a narrative rich with possibility and nuance. It reminds us that mystery is not merely about what is hidden, but also about the spaces our minds occupy when confronted with uncertainty. The underwater environment itself shapes the experience of the site. Diving through the currents, with sunlight filtering through the water and illuminating ledges and terraces, the monument takes on a dreamlike quality. The silence of the ocean amplifies its mystery, allowing subtle movements and reflections to become part of the narrative. Fish weave among the terraces as if guided by the structures themselves, and the gentle sway of currents softens the sharpness of edges, blending the human and natural, the real and imagined. In this way, the monument becomes a liminal space, a threshold between past and present, land and sea, human effort and geological chance. From a philosophical perspective, the Yonaguni Monument challenges our assumptions about human history. If it is indeed shaped by human hands, it forces us to reconsider what early humans were capable of achieving and what civilizations might have existed in ways we have yet to document. If it is natural, it is nonetheless a remarkable mirror of human construction, reminding us that our perception of order and design is deeply rooted in cognitive patterns. Either way, it teaches us to approach the past with both humility and curiosity, recognizing that nature and humanity often intertwine in ways that defy simple explanation. The mystery of Yonaguni also emphasizes scale and perspective. Unlike small artifacts or inscriptions, these formations require immersion, both physical and mental, to appreciate fully. Observing from the surface provides only hints. Descending into the depths allows the site's complexity to reveal itself gradually, emphasizing patience and attentiveness. In this sense, Yonaguni is both literal and metaphorical. It asks us to immerse ourselves in history, to move slowly, and to embrace questions as fully as answers. The monument's subtle contradictions, geometric yet organic, submerged yet monumental, mysterious yet tangible, mirror the broader themes of this documentary. As we conclude this section, we leave the waters of Yonaguni with a sense of quiet reflection. Whether crafted by human hands or sculpted by nature, the terraces, steps, and geometric forms remind us of the delicate balance between evidence and imagination, observation and interpretation. They prepare us for the next chapter, which returns to a more terrestrial setting. Caral, the ancient city in Peru that reveals a civilization remarkable not for conquest or spectacle, but for planning, ritual, and enigmatic architecture. The journey continues, moving from the depths of the ocean to the heights of human settlement, each mystery a step deeper into the unseen past. High in the arid Soup Valley of Peru lies Caral, a city that has long been shrouded in silence. Section 9 guides us through the enigmatic ruins of this pre-Columbian civilization, which flourished around 2600 BCE, making it one of the oldest urban centers in the Americas. Unlike the stone pyramids of Egypt or the monumental circles of Göbekli Tepe, Caral's architecture is understated, its structures low and broad, yet their scale and complexity reveal a society of remarkable sophistication. There are plazas, pyramids, sunken circular courts, and residential complexes, all arranged with careful planning. Yet Caral left no written records, no inscriptions to explain its purpose, and very little evidence of warfare, which stands in contrast to other ancient civilizations of similar age. Its silence invites contemplation, offering lessons in the ingenuity of a people who built without boasting. The city's layout is deliberate and symmetrical. Broad avenues connect large plazas to terraced pyramids, suggesting ceremonial or administrative functions. The sunken circular plazas, particularly, are striking. Their purpose remains uncertain, but may have served ritual or communal activities. These plazas are carefully aligned, and their scale implies organized labor and social coordination. The construction of Cairo required knowledge of engineering, architecture, and resource management, especially considering the arid environment and the need for irrigation. These achievements highlight the ability of human societies to thrive in challenging conditions, shaping the landscape in ways that endure for millennia. One of the most compelling mysteries of Cairo is its apparent absence of fortifications. In an era when many civilizations invested in defensive walls and weapons, Cairo seems remarkably peaceful. Archaeologists have found evidence of musical instruments, including flutes made from condor bones, suggesting that culture, ceremony, and art were prioritized over conquest. This challenges conventional narratives about early urban centers, which often link city building with warfare and dominance. Instead, Cairo offers a vision of a society that organized itself around ritual, community, and collective identity. Its silence, both literal and historical, amplifies its allure, asking modern observers to imagine the lives of those who walked its avenues thousands of years ago. The engineering and urban planning at Cairo are extraordinary. The city demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of construction materials, foundation stabilization, and drainage systems. Stones were carefully selected and shaped, platforms raised to prevent flooding, and plazas laid out to accommodate large gatherings. The terraced pyramids, while modest compared to Egyptian counterparts, required careful labor and coordination, reflecting a social organization capable of mobilizing and sustaining workers over extended periods. The absence of written records makes it difficult to discern political or religious hierarchies. Yet the city's spatial logic suggests an implicit order, a shared understanding of social and ceremonial priorities encoded in the very layout of the city. Cairo also provides insight into early agricultural practices. The civilization relied on irrigation canals, crops such as cotton, beans, and squash, and fishing from the nearby Pacific coast. This combination of land and marine resources supported a population capable of constructing monumental architecture without the need for conquest-driven expansion. The integration of environment, economy, and urban planning underscores a sophisticated approach to sustainability, demonstrating that complexity does not always require written history to flourish. Instead, Cairo speaks through its structures, terraces, and carefully placed plazas, revealing the ingenuity and adaptability of its builders. The city's ritual focus is evident in both scale and design. Sunken circular plazas and pyramids suggest that ceremonies were central to social cohesion. The absence of fortifications reinforces the idea that power may have been expressed through communal and religious authority rather than militaristic dominance. The careful orientation of structures may reflect cosmological observations or agricultural cycles, indicating that Cairo's inhabitants integrated knowledge of the natural world into their urban design. This harmony between human activity and environmental awareness exemplifies the subtle intelligence of a civilization whose voice remains largely unheard. Cairo's discovery in the late 20th century transformed our understanding of pre-Columbian civilizations in the Americas. Until its excavation, it was widely believed that the Andean region lacked early urban centers capable of complex architecture and social organization. Cairo challenged these assumptions, demonstrating that large, organized societies existed thousands of years before more widely known cultures such as the Inca. Its quiet presence underscores the recurring theme of this documentary. History is full of overlooked brilliance, civilizations that thrived in silence, and mysteries that endure not because they are incomplete, but because they speak in forms we have yet to fully interpret. The silence of Carol also evokes a meditative quality. Walking through its plazas in imagination, one envisions a city alive with ceremonial gatherings, music, and movement, yet without the written record to confirm the details. The absence of narrative allows modern observers to engage directly with the physical environment, interpreting meaning through spatial relationships, architectural choices, and environmental integration. Carol becomes both a tangible artifact and a canvas for imagination, inviting reflection on how human societies encode meaning in forms other than language or inscriptions. As this section draws to a close, we linger on the paradox of Carol, a city ancient beyond imagination, yet remarkably modern in its integration of urban planning, sustainability, and cultural expression. Its silence amplifies curiosity, compelling us to consider the ingenuity of human societies that thrived without leaving written accounts. The lessons of Carol prepare us for the next mystery, where symbols, writing, and celestial observation converge in the undeciphered scripts and tablets of Europe, reminding us that human creativity often transcends both time and language. Across the landscapes of ancient Europe, scattered fragments of writing emerge as whispers from the past. Section 10 draws us into the realm of undeciphered European scripts, enigmatic symbols etched on a stone, clay, and metal that continue to puzzle linguists and archaeologists alike. Unlike the monumental structures or urban centers we have explored, these scripts are intimate in scale, often found on small artifacts. Yet their existence hints at entire networks of communication, knowledge, and culture now lost to time. Each symbol carries the weight of a forgotten voice, a message encoded in a form we cannot yet read. Here, the line between understanding and mystery blurs, inviting contemplation of civilizations that thrived in ways that remain largely invisible to us. Among the most famous of these undeciphered scripts is the Vinca script, found in southeastern Europe, dating back as far as 5,500 BCE. Its symbols appear on pottery shards, figurines, and tablets, often in short sequences that suggest a system of communication, though whether they represent language, proto-writing, or symbolic notation remains debated. Other European scripts, such as the Tartaria tablets or the Phaistos disc, echo this pattern. Carefully arranged signs, often repeated, yet incomprehensible to modern readers. Each discovery carries the tantalizing suggestion of a once literate culture whose voice we can hear only faintly, through shapes and impressions rather than words. The challenge of interpreting these scripts lies not only in their age, but also in their brevity. Many inscriptions are extremely short, sometimes only a few characters, leaving scholars with minimal context. Unlike cuneiform or hieroglyphics, which benefited from Rosetta-like artifacts allowing translation, these European symbols lack a key. Attempts to correlate them with known languages or scripts have produced tantalizing but inconclusive results. This ambiguity transforms each artifact into a kind of silent puzzle, a tangible representation of the limits of human knowledge. It is a reminder that literacy, communication, and civilization can exist in forms that leave traces without offering full clarity. The context of these artifacts adds further intrigue. Vinca symbols, for instance, are often associated with domestic or ritual objects rather than monumental inscriptions, suggesting that early European societies used writing in practical, perhaps spiritual, ways. Similarly, the Phaistos disc, with its spiraling symbols pressed into clay, raises questions about symbolic representation, portability, and ritual significance. Were these scripts used for trade, religious observances, or record-keeping? Were they meant to be widely understood, or intentionally restricted to a select few? The lack of answers invites imagination, while respecting the reality that some knowledge is irretrievably lost. A striking feature of these European scripts is their artistry. The symbols are often carefully executed, symmetrical, and aesthetically balanced, indicating that their creators valued not just communication, but also form. Lines curve and intersect with precision, suggesting an intuitive understanding of geometry and design. Even without translation, these artifacts convey intention, deliberation, and cultural significance. They remind us that human expression has always combined functionality with artistry, and that messages can persist in ways beyond literal comprehension. Each symbol becomes a bridge between the minds of ancient peoples and our own modern curiosity. The geographical distribution of these scripts also raises questions about cultural connections. Vinca symbols appear across hundreds of sites in the Balkans, while similar undeciphered inscriptions emerge in Crete, Sardinia, and other regions of Europe. This suggests networks of knowledge, trade, or shared symbolic traditions that predate or run parallel to more famous civilizations. The presence of writing implies social organization, communication, and perhaps even early governance structures. Yet without decipherment, these insights remain speculative, leaving us suspended in the delicate balance between evidence and imagination. One of the most compelling aspects of these undeciphered European scripts is their endurance. Thousands of years have passed since their creation, yet the symbols remain legible, tangible, and provocative. Unlike oral traditions, which vanish without documentation, these marks survive as silent witnesses to human thought. Their survival allows us to glimpse the intellectual and cultural capacities of societies that predate the written histories of more famous civilizations. Each artifact is a fragment of a story, a shadow of a mind, a piece of a puzzle whose edges extend beyond our grasp. Contemplating these scripts encourages reflection on the nature of communication itself. Writing is often viewed as a tool for recording facts, history, or law, yet these early symbols suggest a broader purpose: connection, ritual, expression, and identity. The brevity of the inscriptions forces us to consider what humans choose to preserve and what is lost. In doing so, we confront a universal tension in the study of ancient mysteries: the contrast between what was intended by the creators and what survives for us to interpret. The silent scripts of Europe exemplify this tension beautifully, offering both intrigue and humility. Finally, these scripts bridge past and present through curiosity. Even in the absence of full comprehension, they spark investigation, debate, and imaginative reconstruction. They invite us to consider the lives, intentions, and beliefs of people who left no voice beyond symbols etched in clay, stone, or metal. Their mystery reminds us that history is not only what we know, but also what remains unseen, unspoken, and unresolved. In this quiet contemplation, the European undeciphered scripts prepare us for the next chapter, where ancient observations of the heavens intersect with human ambition in a prehistoric African desert observatory, further illuminating the subtle intelligence and ingenuity of early societies. Deep in the arid expanses of the Nubian Desert in southern Egypt, far from the bustling life of the Nile, lies Nabta Playa, a site that quietly challenges our understanding of prehistoric human knowledge. Section 11 immerses us in this remarkable location, where stone circles, alignments, and megaliths reveal a society attuned not only to the land but to the heavens above. Dating back to around 6000 BCE, Nabta Playa predates Stonehenge by thousands of years, yet it exhibits a sophistication in astronomical observation that continues to astonish researchers. Here, the ancient and the celestial converge, drawing us into a world where survival, ritual, and cosmic understanding intertwine seamlessly. The site consists of numerous stone arrangements, including circular enclosures, alignments pointing toward solstitial sunrise positions, and isolated megaliths whose purpose remains uncertain. Some stones are precisely placed in relation to celestial events, suggesting that the builders understood the sun's movement and seasonal cycles with remarkable accuracy. These alignments imply that Nabta Playa served not merely as a habitation site, but as a place of observation, ritual, and possibly social coordination. The careful placement of stones across the flat desert landscape evokes a subtle, deliberate orchestration, an interplay of human intention and cosmic rhythm. Archaeological excavations reveal that the inhabitants were pastoralists, tending cattle while also gathering plants and fish from nearby seasonal lakes. This combination of subsistence strategies supported the creation of ceremonial and astronomical structures, demonstrating that the people of Nabta Playa integrated practical life with spiritual and scientific awareness. The connection between environmental adaptation and cosmological observation underscores a broader theme of this documentary. Early humans were not merely surviving, but observing, understanding, and encoding their knowledge into the landscape in ways that remain legible millennia later. One of the most intriguing aspects of Nabta Playa is its early form of proto-astronomy. Certain stone alignments correspond closely to the rising positions of the sun during solstices and possibly other celestial events. This suggests a careful tracking of seasonal cycles, which would have been critical for agricultural and pastoral planning. Yet beyond utility, these alignments also hint at ritual significance, indicating that cosmology, spirituality, and survival were interwoven. The desert itself becomes a canvas, where stones mark both time and belief, human insight engraved into the earth with precision and purpose. The scale and organization of the site reveal an implicit social complexity. Constructing stone circles and alignments required coordinated labor, knowledge of geometry, and the ability to plan for long-term observation. These features suggest a society capable of collaboration and foresight, yet without written records. In this way, Nabta Playa echoes other ancient mysteries. It speaks not through language, but through spatial arrangement, proportion, and alignment. Each stone becomes a silent testimony, a marker of knowledge that transcends the limitations of oral memory and everyday survival. Cultural context further enriches our understanding. Artifacts found at Nabta Playa, ceramics, tools, and figurines, indicate ritual and symbolic behavior. Animal representations, particularly cattle, appear frequently, reflecting both economic importance and spiritual symbolism. The prominence of cattle may also have shaped the site's ceremonial and observational functions, connecting celestial knowledge to terrestrial prosperity. In this way, Nabta Playa exemplifies the deep interconnection between environment, economy, ritual, and scientific curiosity, a holistic worldview expressed through stone and space. The site's enduring mystery lies in the balance between deliberate design and natural landscape. The desert's flatness enhances visibility and alignment precision, yet the stones are themselves irregular, subject to erosion and environmental change. Over thousands of years, wind and sand have subtly altered their positions, making reconstruction a careful blend of archaeology, astronomy, and imagination. This tension between permanence and impermanence mirrors the broader narrative of human history. Even in the harshest environments, people sought order, meaning, and continuity, leaving traces that invite both study and reflection. Nabta Playa also offers insight into early conceptualization of time and celestial patterns. Unlike simple markers, the stone arrangements suggest ongoing observation and long-term tracking of the sun, possibly even other celestial bodies. This implies that prehistoric communities could anticipate seasonal changes, coordinate agricultural or pastoral activities, and structure communal life around cyclical events. The integration of practical and symbolic purposes, timekeeping, ritual, and social cohesion reveals a nuanced intelligence often underestimated in prehistoric societies. The stones, quiet and enduring, encode knowledge that speaks both to survival and to human curiosity about the cosmos. The meditative quality of Nabta Playa is enhanced by its remoteness and simplicity. Standing in imagination among the stone circles, one feels a rhythm aligned with the sun, wind, and distant horizon. The site evokes reflection on human persistence, creativity, and the desire to find meaning in both daily life and the heavens. Unlike cities or monuments that communicate power, Nabta Playa communicates observation and contemplation. Its silence encourages a slower, more attentive form of engagement, drawing modern viewers into a mental space attuned to ancient rhythms. As this section closes, we leave Nabta Playa with a sense of wonder and humility. The site exemplifies the intelligence, precision, and spirituality of prehistoric societies, reminding us that sophisticated understanding of the world does not always require writing, wealth, or monumental construction. Its stone circles stand as quiet witnesses to human observation, creativity, and reverence for the cosmos. From here, our journey moves from the desert to the islands of the Pacific, tracing mysteries of human ingenuity and adaptation across continents, always guided by the delicate interplay of fact and speculation, the known and the unknown. On the sun-drenched island of Crete, amidst the ruins of an ancient palace complex, a small, clay artifact rests quietly in a museum display, its significance undiminished by time. Section 12 draws us into the mystery of the Phaistos disc, a circular tablet covered in spiral inscriptions that have baffled scholars for over a century. Discovered in 1908 in the Minoan Palace of Phaistos, the disc dates to approximately 1700 BCE and measures only about 16 centimeters in diameter. Yet within its compact form lies a complexity that rivals the grandest monuments. 74 distinct symbols arranged in a continuous spiral, stamped into the clay with remarkable uniformity. Its origin, purpose, and meaning remain shrouded, creating one of the most compelling enigmas of the ancient world. The disc's spiral pattern immediately distinguishes it from conventional inscriptions. Unlike cuneiform tablets or Egyptian hieroglyphics, where symbols are arranged in orderly rows, the Phaistos disc signs wind inward in a continuous loop, suggesting a narrative or ceremonial purpose rather than mere record-keeping. The symbols depict humans, animals, plants, tools, and abstract forms, each carefully stamped with precision, indicating deliberate design and craftsmanship. The regularity of impression implies the use of pre-made stamps, a sophisticated method for mass production, which is striking for the time. This level of innovation underscores the ingenuity of the Minoan civilization, whose art, architecture, and maritime influence are already celebrated, yet the disc adds a layer of intellectual complexity still largely unexplored. Scholars have proposed numerous theories regarding the disc's function. Some suggest it was a religious or ceremonial object, perhaps a hymn, prayer, or ritual instruction. Others speculate that it served administrative purposes, a type of inventory or legal record compressed into symbolic shorthand. A more enigmatic hypothesis proposes that it was a mnemonic device designed to be read aloud or performed, linking symbols to sounds, words, or gestures. Each theory is tantalizing, yet none can be confirmed, leaving the disc suspended between the known and the unknowable. Its silence compels us to reflect on the diversity of human communication and the limits of interpretation across millennia. The creation of the disc itself speaks to remarkable technical skill. Each symbol is impressively detailed, and the uniformity of impression indicates a methodical, repeatable process. Archaeologists note that the stamping techniques suggest standardization and perhaps widespread literacy or symbolic understanding within the Minoan culture. Yet no other artifacts of similar production have been discovered, making the disc unique. This singularity enhances its mystique. It is both an emblem of intellectual achievement and a puzzle with no comparative reference. In this sense, the Phaistos disc embodies a tension common to ancient mysteries, a combination of clarity, craftsmanship, and ambiguity. The context of the find deepens the intrigue. The disc was discovered in a storage area within the palace, alongside everyday items such as pottery and tools. This juxtaposition of the mundane and the extraordinary hints at a civilization where ritual, administration, and daily life were intertwined. The placement suggests it was valued, but perhaps not widely circulated or understood by the general populace. This mirrors patterns seen in other ancient mysteries, where specialized knowledge is encoded in objects whose meaning is partially restricted to a select group. The disc thus becomes a window into the intellectual and social structure of Minoan society, even as its message remains elusive. Interpretation of the disc is further complicated by its linguistic context. The Minoan language, associated with linear A script, is itself undeciphered. Scholars have attempted to correlate symbols on the Phaistos disc with known scripts, hieroglyphs, or phonetic systems, yet no consistent translation has emerged. This absence of linguistic keys preserves the disc's mystery, allowing it to function as both historical artifact and intellectual enigma. Each attempt at decipherment, whether through statistical analysis, pattern recognition, or comparative linguistics, underscores the ingenuity of its creators while highlighting the limits of modern understanding. The disc challenges assumptions about the evolution of writing, literacy, and symbolic communication. Beyond its linguistic puzzle, the Phaistos disc captivates through aesthetic and tactile qualities. The spiral form draws the eye inward, creating a visual rhythm that mirrors the contemplative process of interpretation. The stamped symbols are carefully proportioned, balanced, and spaced, suggesting an awareness of design that is both practical and artistic. In handling, or imagining handling, such an artifact, one can sense the deliberate care of its maker, the intent embedded in each impression. The disc becomes more than a text. It is a work of art, a crafted object that invites reflection on the interplay between human cognition, creativity, and physical execution. The Phaistos disc also invites broader contemplation of time, memory, and the preservation of knowledge. Its uniqueness reminds us that much of human history may remain hidden, encoded in objects whose meanings we may never fully recover. The artifact embodies the delicate intersection of chance and intention. It survived millennia, discovered by accident, yet it remains one of the few remnants of a sophisticated symbolic system. Its mystery is not merely an absence of information, but a testament to human curiosity, perseverance, and imagination. The disc, in its quiet spiral, reaches across time, connecting us to minds that lived, observed, and encoded meaning in ways that continue to challenge our understanding. As we conclude this section, the Phaistos disc stands as both an artifact and an emblem of mystery itself. It reminds us that human ingenuity is often expressed in forms that are deliberate yet enigmatic, functional yet artistic. Its silent spiral calls us to slow observation, careful contemplation, and humble acknowledgement of the limits of knowledge. From here, our journey moves from the islands of the Mediterranean to the deserts of the Middle East, where monumental stone circles, ritual observatories, and undeciphered symbols await, continuing the delicate balance between evidence and imagination, the visible and the hidden. High on a plateau in southeastern Turkey, where the wind sweeps across dry grasslands and distant mountains frame the horizon, lie the remains of a site that has rewritten our understanding of human history. Section 13 explores Göbekli Tepe, a complex of massive stone circles and T-shaped pillars that predates conventional civilization by thousands of years. Constructed around 9,600 BCE, it is widely regarded as the world's oldest known temple complex. It was built by hunter-gatherers long before the advent of agriculture, writing, or permanent settlements. This paradox, the existence of monumental structures without an established civilization, challenges our assumptions about social organization, spirituality, and human ingenuity in the prehistoric world. The scale of Göbekli Tepe is staggering. The site contains multiple circular enclosures, each dominated by colossal stone pillars, some over 16 feet tall and weighing several tons. These pillars are intricately carved with reliefs of animals, lions, snakes, birds, and abstract symbols that appear both naturalistic and symbolic. The carvings suggest not merely decorative intent, but a deliberate effort to encode meaning, perhaps reflecting myth, ritual, or cosmological understanding. The craftsmanship and coordination required to quarry, transport, and erect these massive stones indicate a level of organization and labor management previously thought impossible for hunter-gatherer societies. Göbekli Tepe challenges conventional narratives about the origins of civilization. For centuries, historians assumed that agriculture and settled life preceded large-scale construction and monumental art. Here, the evidence suggests the reverse. The building of monumental religious structures may have been a catalyst for social complexity, encouraging the formation of permanent settlements and organized communities. The pillars, carefully arranged in circles and aligned with precision, indicate shared knowledge, planning, and cooperation, revealing an early form of social cohesion and collective purpose that foreshadows later civilizations. The carvings themselves carry a quiet, enigmatic power. Predatory animals, some depicted in dynamic motion, others in stylized abstraction, dominate the pillars. These depictions may represent symbolic storytelling, ritual significance, or cosmological observation. Some researchers have proposed connections to astronomical events or seasonal cycles, suggesting that the site functioned both as a ceremonial center and as a locus for observing the natural and celestial world. The carvings, combined with the arrangement of pillars and enclosures, convey a sense of deliberate intent, a complex language of form that communicates across millennia, even in the absence of written text. Archaeological evidence indicates that Göbekli Tepe was used and maintained over centuries, with successive enclosures built atop earlier layers. This layering suggests a long-term commitment to ritual practice and site preservation, reflecting a shared cultural or religious significance. Yet, unlike later civilizations, there is no evidence of domestic architecture, storage facilities, or typical urban infrastructure. The site appears designed exclusively for ceremonial purposes, emphasizing the primacy of spiritual and communal activities in shaping early human social structures. This deliberate absence of domesticity enhances the site's aura, emphasizing mystery over functionality and ritual over mundane concerns. The discovery of Göbekli Tepe has forced scholars to reconsider the role of belief and ritual in human development. Traditionally, monument building and social hierarchy were thought to arise only after agriculture provided surplus resources. Göbekli Tepe demonstrates that spiritual motivation alone can mobilize labor, knowledge, and skill, inspiring complex construction projects long before settled life. This insight reframes the story of human civilization. Religion, ritual, and collective purpose may have been the engines that drove social cohesion, technological innovation, and eventually, agriculture itself. The site embodies a tension between human imagination and practical survival, revealing a sophisticated interplay of vision, labor, and belief. The positioning and alignment of the structures further deepen the mystery. Certain enclosures suggest astronomical orientation, with pillars possibly marking solstices, equinoxes, or other celestial events. This reflects an awareness of natural cycles and a human desire to interpret and encode them in physical form. The integration of spiritual, environmental, and social factors demonstrates an early capacity for abstract thinking and long-term planning, challenging assumptions about prehistoric cognition. Göbekli Tepe is therefore not only a temple complex, but also a monument to human foresight, curiosity, and the capacity for symbolic thought. Walking mentally among the towering pillars, one can imagine early humans gathering for ceremonies, storytelling, or observation of the skies. Fires may have illuminated the carved reliefs, casting shadows that animated the animals and symbols, creating a profound sensory experience. These gatherings likely reinforced social bonds, coordinated labor, and maintained cultural memory. Even without written records, the site communicates the power of collective purpose, shared imagination, and the capacity to invest in projects that transcend immediate survival, a lesson that resonates with every mystery we have explored so far. As this section concludes, Göbekli Tepe stands as a testament to the ingenuity, creativity, and spiritual depth of early humans. Its monumental stones, carved symbols, and carefully aligned enclosures invite reflection on the origins of culture, religion, and societal organization. The site embodies the tension between known fact and tantalizing mystery, offering insight while withholding definitive answers. From this ancient plateau, we prepare to journey to another enigmatic part of the world. The desert monuments of Africa, the Americas, and Europe already explored, now intersecting with celestial observation, ritual, and monumental artistry, reminding us that humanity's urge to create, observe, and encode meaning is as timeless as it is profound. Stretching across the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca Desert holds a secret that only reveals itself fully from above. Vast, intricate lines etched into the earth that form animals, geometric patterns, and enigmatic shapes. Section 14 immerses us in the wonder of the Nazca Lines, a monumental canvas of human expression created between 500 BCE and 500 CE. These lines, some extending for hundreds of meters, are so large that their full forms can only be appreciated from an aerial perspective, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of scale, design, and observation. Yet the purpose of these geoglyphs remains unresolved, oscillating between ceremonial, astronomical, and symbolic explanations, leaving an enduring puzzle that fascinates researchers and visitors alike. The creation of the Nazca Lines involved the careful removal of the reddish-brown iron oxide-coated stones that cover the desert surface, revealing the lighter-colored soil beneath. This contrast produces striking patterns visible across the vast, flat expanse. The images include over 70 animals, spiders, monkeys, hummingbirds, and geometric shapes such as spirals, trapezoids, and parallel lines. The precision of these works, combined with their scale, indicates careful planning, measurement, and perhaps even tools or techniques that remain largely speculative. The lines are not merely decorative. They embody deliberate thought, communication, and a connection to the landscape that transcends the ordinary. Various interpretations have been proposed regarding the purpose of the lines. Some scholars suggest they served ritual or religious functions, perhaps as pathways to honor deities associated with water, fertility, or celestial bodies. Others propose an astronomical role, noting alignments with solstices, star positions, or planetary cycles. Certain geometric patterns may have functioned as markers or guides for ceremonial processions, integrating movement across the desert with symbolic meaning. Yet, despite decades of study, no single explanation fully accounts for the breadth and variety of the lines, leaving the Nazca geoglyphs suspended in ambiguity, a silent testament to human ingenuity and mystery. The human effort required to create these geoglyphs is staggering. Even without modern surveying equipment, the Nazca people achieved remarkable accuracy over vast distances. Archaeologists suggest methods such as sight lines, ropes, and stakes may have been employed, allowing relatively simple tools to produce highly complex results. The absence of permanent settlements nearby reinforces the idea that these were ceremonial or symbolic projects rather than utilitarian constructions. This combination of ambition, precision, and resourcefulness underscores the sophistication of the Nazca culture and highlights a recurring theme in our exploration. The human creativity often transcends immediate practicality, leaving traces whose purpose challenges modern understanding. Scale and perspective are central to the line's impact. From the ground, many geoglyphs appear as simple lines or abstract shapes. Only from above does the full artistry emerge. This raises profound questions. Did the creators anticipate aerial observation, or were the designs intended to be seen from nearby hills or through symbolic imagination? The Nazca Lines force us to consider how ancient societies conceptualize space, vision, and representation. They challenge assumptions about perception and suggest that humans have long engaged with their environment not merely as a place to live, but as a canvas for communication, ritual, and symbolic expression. Water and survival may also play a role in understanding the lines. The Nazca region is extremely arid, and many researchers believe that the geoglyphs were created to invoke or honor water deities, seeking fertility and rainfall. Certain lines lead to natural water sources, and some patterns may have guided ritual activities tied to agricultural cycles. In this way, the lines integrate practical concerns with symbolic and spiritual expression, demonstrating a nuanced understanding of both environment and human need. The desert itself becomes a stage for cultural, religious, and perhaps cosmological engagement, highlighting the interplay between survival, ritual, and creativity. The endurance of the Nazca lines adds to their mystique. Protected by the region's dry climate and minimal erosion, the lines have survived for over a millennium with little alteration. Their persistence allows modern observers to appreciate their scale and design, bridging the gap between past and present. Yet this longevity also emphasizes their mystery. The creator's intentions remain encoded in a landscape that speaks to human ingenuity without words. The lines are at once permanent and enigmatic, monumental yet silent, offering an experience that is both visual and contemplative. Culturally, the Nazca lines reflect a society deeply attuned to the natural world and its cycles. The depiction of animals, both terrestrial and celestial in nature, suggests symbolic or mythological significance, perhaps representing deities, spirits, or cosmological concepts. The repetition of motifs and integration with geometric shapes point to a structured worldview, one that combined observation, ritual, and artistic expression. These qualities echo themes from other ancient mysteries we have explored. The interplay of environment, human intention, and symbolism, preserved in physical form for millennia to inspire curiosity and reflection. The Nazca lines also invite philosophical contemplation. They are expressions of human ambition and creativity, demonstrating the desire to leave a mark upon the earth that transcends everyday existence. Their scale, complexity, and precision challenge assumptions about the technological and cognitive capabilities of ancient societies. Yet perhaps most profoundly, they embody a connection between humanity and the cosmos, between the tangible landscape and the intangible, unseen forces that inspire devotion and imagination. Walking mentally across the desert, tracing the contours of hummingbirds, spiders, and spirals, we sense both human presence and mystery, an enduring dialogue across centuries. As this section concludes, the Nazca lines stand as monumental reminders of human curiosity, creativity, and reverence for the natural and spiritual world. They link the past with the present, inviting reflection on purpose, perspective, and the enduring quest to understand our place in the cosmos. From here, our journey begins to draw together the threads of mystery, monumentality, and human ingenuity we have traced across deserts, jungles, oceans, and ancient cities, setting the stage for reflection and synthesis in our final section.